When you think about sleep, what comes to mind? Just downtime, right? A way to recharge the batteries. Well, the source for this explainer, a text called The Scientific Indictment, has a way more chilling take. It says sleep isn't rest at all. It's a critical nightly mission, and that mission is under a full-blown attack. So yeah, let's dive right in. So, right off the bat, the source wants us to just throw out everything we thought we knew about being tired. It's asking us to imagine, just for a second, what if sleep isn't some biological bug or, a waste of a third of your life? What if it's an active mission we go on every single night? And here's the kicker. What if someone or something is trying to sabotage it? Okay, so the source has its own language for this stuff. It calls sleep a guardian-designed feature of our biology. And in this model, sleep is anything but downtime. It's this active, multi-layered protocol. Think of it like a computer running a nightly maintenance routine. It's for physical repair, sure, but also chemical balancing and, get this, something it calls spiritual communion, like a deep nightly data sync with a wider consciousness. So let's break down this Guardian protocol. The source splits it into 3 core steps. First, you've got the physical part, the glymphatic defrag. This is actually based on a real, recently discovered process where the brain literally flushes out toxic gunk, like beta amyloid proteins, while we're in deep sleep. Pretty cool, right? Then there's the chemical step, pineal calibration. Now, this is where the source gets really interesting. It theorizes that melatonin isn't just for making you sleepy, it's actually prepping the brain for dreaming, maybe even acting as a precursor to DMT. And finally, the spiritual part, the astral classroom. This is the source's take on REM sleep. It's not just random brain firings. It's a critical time for our consciousness to process data, download insights, like a nightly recon mission for the soul. Okay, so if this whole nightly protocol is so incredibly important, then why are so many of us struggling to get good, deep sleep? Well, the source says this is no accident. It's the result of a coordinated, get this, 3-front war being waged against us by our modern world. So let's take a look at the weapons being used in this war. Weapon number 1, the light attack. We're talking about that blue light blasting from all our screens. According to the source, that specific wavelength is like a direct signal to our brain that says, hey, it's the middle of the day. It's a chemical kill switch for melatonin. Our bodies are basically tricked into thinking it's always daylight, which means that whole pineal calibration protocol, it gets shut down before it even has a chance to start. Next up, weapon number 2, the frequency jammer. The text claims that all the EMR from our Wi-Fi and cell phones, it's like static on a radio. It's a jamming frequency that messes with our brain's ability to get into that deep, restorative delta wave sleep. And that's the exact state we need to be in for that glymphatic defrag to happen. So long story short, this constant frequency noise is, according to the source, stopping our brains from taking out the garbage every night. And the final weapon in this arsenal is chemical. We're talking about cortisol, the stress hormone. The source argues that the constant drip of bad news from the 24/7 news cycle, plus the anxiety by design of social media, keeps us jacked up in a low-grade fight or flight mode all the time. And when you have that much cortisol pumping through you at night, it completely blocks your body's rest and digest system. It becomes biologically impossible for that nightly healing to even kick off. So you see the pattern, right? Our modern world creates the problem, we can't sleep, and then, what a surprise, it turns around and sells us the solution. But this is where the source says the trap gets really, really insidious. Because that so-called solution, it's the final lock on the prison door. Yeah, check out this quote from the text. It frames this cure as the final locking mechanism. The argument is simple. Sleeping pills aren't a fix. They're a counterfeit. They're a chemical illusion that's literally designed to block the very protocols that make sleep, well, sleep. So how do these things actually work? Well, according to the source, drugs like Ambien aren't really sleep aids at all. They're called sedative hypnotics. They don't gently guide you into natural sleep, What they do is they crank up GABA, which is basically the brain's emergency brake, to an insane degree. The source says it's not like falling asleep. It's like getting hit over the head with a chemical sledgehammer. You're not asleep, you're just knocked out. And this chart, wow, this is what the source calls the EEG confession. It's based on its reading of brainwave data. Let's just walk through it. In natural sleep, you see everything working. You've got your deep delta waves, that glymphatic cleansing is running, and the astral classroom of REM sleep is in session. Now look at the ambient sleep column. It's a total ghost town. Deep delta waves, suppressed. The brain's cleaning cycle, aborted. And that REM connection, completely severed. The source's conclusion is pretty stark. You're not sleeping. You are just
offline. Okay, so this brings us to the final indictment, what the text calls the pharmaceutical trap. It argues that this fake sleep is just a masterpiece of deception, and it attacks us on 4 different fronts at once.
Let's break down this fourfold deception. First, you're not getting that physical brainwash, so toxic proteins are just building up night after night. Second, it cuts you off from what the source calls your Gnostic connection. Basically, the dream state and any insights you might get from it are just gone. Third, it creates this brutal cycle of addiction. You wake up feeling terrible because you never actually slept, which just makes you think you need the pill more. And fourth, it's a massively profitable loop. Create the problem, then sell a solution that just digs the hole deeper. Genius in a twisted way.
And so, when you put it all together, you get to the source's ultimate point. This war on sleep, it's not just about making us tired so we buy more coffee. It's a systematic attack on our biological hardware. It's designed to keep us disconnected, physically, mentally, and spiritually. To basically trap our consciousness inside a machine that's never allowed to fully connect or repair itself.
So the source leaves us with one last, really provocative question. It wants you to see your bedroom not as a sanctuary, but as a battlefield. To see your phone, your Wi-Fi router, your late-night doom scrolling, not just as habits, but as strategic choices in this war. The real question it's asking is, in this war on sleep, are you going to be a casualty, or are you going to start fighting back? That's all for this deep dive into the Scientific Indictment.